The bridge of the U.S. Defiant hummed with nervous energy as Lieutenant Susan Baker stared at the massive alien ship that had just appeared near Earth's moon. The vessel was unlike anything humans had ever seen, a twisted mass of purple-black metal that seemed to bend in impossible ways. Status report. Captain Robert Nash's voice cut through the tension. He stood tall at the command station, his weathered face illuminated by the soft blue glow of holographic displays. "Sir, the alien vessel is 3 times our size," Susan reported, her fingers dancing across the sensor console. "No matching configurations in our database. Their energy readings are off the charts." The Defiant was Earth's newest warship, equipped with the latest quantum sensors and experimental weapons. But right now, Susan felt like they were children playing with toys compared to the monstrosity ahead of them. Chief Engineer Laura Mills' voice crackled over the intercom. "Captain, I'm detecting unusual dimensional fluctuations around their ship. Whatever tech they're using, it's bending space itself." Before Nash could respond, every screen on the bridge lit up with an incoming transmission. A harsh, metallic voice filled the room, speaking perfect English in a way that made everyone's skin crawl. "Primitive human vessel, this is Supreme Commander Kexful of the Xeraxian Empire. Your species has been monitored and deemed worthy of subjugation. Prepare for immediate surrender and integration into our collective." Captain Nash straightened his uniform and stepped forward. "This is Captain Robert Nash of the United Earth Fleet. We do not accept your terms. Earth is a sovereign world, and we will defend our freedom." Laughter, if you could call it that, echoed through the speakers. It sounded like grinding metal mixed with breaking glass. "Your defiance is noted, but meaningless. Our scans show your technological level. You have no weapons capable of penetrating our shields." Susan watched as Nash shared a subtle look with Laura through the video feed to engineering. They had been holding back during the alien scans, running on minimal power. The Xeraxians hadn't detected everything. "Last warning, human vessel. Power down your systems and prepare for boarding or be destroyed." Nash's voice remained calm as he opened a secure channel to Earth Command. "This is Nash. Implementing Protocol Omega. Request permission to unveil Project Thunderbolt." The response came instantly. "Permission granted. God help us all." "Lieutenant Baker, power up the quantum core," Nash ordered. "Laura, initiate the dimensional fold sequence." Susan's hands flew across her console as the ship's experimental systems came online. The Defiant's power signature tripled, then quadrupled. Warning lights flashed as they pushed the engines beyond their tested limits. The Xeraxian ship launched its first attack, a beam of purple energy that should have cut through the Defiant like butter. Instead, the energy scattered against an invisible barrier, dispersing into harmless sparks. "Quantum shield holding," Susan announced, trying to keep the excitement from her voice. "Their weapons can't penetrate our dimensional barrier." Laura's voice was tense but confident. "Dimensional fold drive at maximum charge. Ready on your command, Captain." The alien ship launched more weapons, beams, missiles, and things Earth's sensors couldn't even classify. Nothing got through. The Xeraxians had made one critical mistake. They assumed humanity's technology matched its apparent development level. "Supreme Commander," Nash's voice carried a hint of satisfaction, "you should have scanned more carefully. Humanity has a saying, never judge a book by its cover." With that, Nash gave the order that would change the course of human history. "Execute Dimensional Fold Attack Pattern Alpha." The Defiant's experimental drive activated, creating a localized distortion in spacetime. In an instant, they were behind the alien vessel. Before the Xeraxians could react, Susan activated the quantum torpedoes, weapons designed to bypass conventional shields by slightly shifting their payload into another dimension. 3 torpedoes struck the alien ship's hull. The explosions weren't large, but they didn't need to be. Where they hit, the metal simply ceased to exist, leaving perfect spherical holes through multiple decks. By the eternal void, the Supreme Commander's voice had lost its arrogance. "What are you?" "We're human," Nash replied simply. "And you've made a terrible mistake." The alien ship tried to retreat, its engines flaring bright enough to rival the sun. But the Defiant's quantum drive had other plans. The space around the Xeraxian vessel twisted, trapping them in a bubble of distorted time-space. "Final warning," Nash announced. "Retreat to your territory. Spread the word. Earth is off limits. We've been holding back far more than you can imagine." The Xeraxian ship hung there for a long moment before their supreme commander responded, his metallic voice now carrying a note of fear. This is impossible. Your species was supposed to be centuries away from dimensional manipulation technology. Humanity has a talent for impossible things, Nash said. Remember that. When the quantum field released them, the alien ship didn't waste any time. It vanished into deep space, leaving behind only scattered sensor readings and a lot of questions. Hours later, as the Defiant maintained its patrol near the moon, Susan found herself going over the sensor logs again and again. They had just survived humanity's first alien encounter, and not only survived but dominated it. Yet something felt wrong. "Thinking deep thoughts, Lieutenant?" Nash asked, appearing beside her station. "Sir," Susan looked up at her captain. "Do you think we showed too much? Revealed too many of our capabilities?" Nash's expression grew serious. "The quantum drive and dimensional weapons were our trump card. Using them might have saved Earth from immediate invasion. But you're right. Now they know what we can do. And they'll be back with counters to our technology," Laura added, joining them on the bridge. Her engineer's uniform was stained with grease from working on the overtaxed engines. "Let them come," Nash said firmly. "What they saw today was just the prototype. Earth Command is already fast-tracking the new Universe Breaker program. If the Xeraxians return, they'll learn why humanity named our most powerful ships after the end of existence itself." Susan looked back at her console, watching as new orders came in from Earth Command. The Defiant was being reassigned to escort the first Universe Breaker-class vessel during its construction. The aliens had thought they found an easy target. Instead, they had awakened the sleeping giant. As Susan processed their new orders, she couldn't help but smile. The Xeraxians wanted to see humanity's true power. They were about to get their wish. 6 months after the Xeraxian encounter, Dr. Angela White stood in the massive construction bay of the Luna shipyards, staring up at humanity's newest creation. The vessel before her stretched nearly a kilometer in length, its dark hull absorbing light in an unsettling way. This wasn't just another warship. This was humanity's answer to the alien threat. Impressive, isn't it? Commander John Peters walked up beside her, his boots clicking on the observation deck's metal floor. "Hard to believe we built this in just 6 months." Angela nodded, her eyes fixed on the quantum core housing at the ship's center. Fear is a powerful motivator. After the Defiant's encounter, every nation on Earth poured their resources into the Universe Breaker program. The ship's official designation was UES Nightbreaker, the first of the Universe Breaker-class vessels. Unlike the experimental systems hastily installed on the Defiant, every piece of this ship was purpose-built to bend reality itself. "Ready for the first test?" John asked, checking his tablet. As the ship's designated captain, he looked both excited and nervous. "As ready as we'll ever be," Angela replied, turning to walk toward the control room. "Though I still think calling them Universe Breakers might be tempting fate a bit." The control room buzzed with activity as technicians and scientists prepared for the first full power test. Laura Mills, recently promoted to chief engineer of the entire program, worked at the main console. She had transferred from the Defiant specifically for this project. "All systems are green," Laura announced as Angela and John entered. "Quantum core is stable, dimensional fold drives are synchronized, and reality anchor is holding steady." Angela took her position at the primary research station. "Begin power-up sequence. Take it slow. We don't want to tear a hole in space-time on our first try." The Nightbreaker's engines hummed to life, a deep vibration that everyone could feel in their bones. Holographic displays showed power levels climbing steadily as each system activated. 10% power, Laura called out. 20, 30. At 50%, the air around the ship began to shimmer, like heat waves rising from hot pavement. The quantum sensors showed space itself starting to bend. This is far beyond what the Defiant could do, John muttered, watching the readings. At just half power, we're already creating spatial distortions stronger than their maximum output. Angela smiled. The Defiant was a proof of concept. This, she gestured to the massive ship, is what happens when humanity stops holding back. As they reached 70% power, alarms suddenly blared. Red warning lights flashed across every console. Dimensional breach forming. Laura shouted, her fingers flying across the controls. The space-time distortion is stronger than our models predicted. Through the observation windows, they watched as reality itself seemed to crack. A tear in space appeared near the ship's bow, showing glimpses of something that shouldn't exist in normal space. Shut it down, John ordered, but Angela raised her hand. Wait, she said, studying the readings. The ship's reality anchor is holding. The breach is controlled. She looked at Laura. Push it to 80%. Laura hesitated for just a moment before complying. The breach grew larger, but the Nightbreaker's systems kept it perfectly contained. Through the tear, they could see swirling colors and impossible geometries. The raw stuff of space-time itself. Do you realize what this means? Angela asked, her voice filled with wonder. We're not just bending space anymore. We're tearing it open and controlling the tear. This is beyond anything we thought possible. John stared at the breach, his expression a mixture of awe and concern. It's also beyond anything the Ziraxians could have predicted. No wonder they ran when they sensed just a fraction of this capability on the Defiant. The test continued for another hour, pushing the ship's systems to 90% power. They discovered that the Nightbreaker could not only create controlled breaches in spacetime, but could also use them for instant transportation, weapon delivery, and even as a shield by redirecting enemy fire into another dimension. As they powered down the systems, Admiral Richard Carter entered the control room. He had watched the entire test from a separate observation post. Outstanding work, everyone, he said, his voice carrying the weight of authority. Dr. White, your team has created something that changes everything. Not just warfare, everything. Angela nodded soberly. The power to tear holes in reality itself. It's terrifying when you think about it. But necessary, John added. The Ziraxians will return, and they won't be alone. They'll bring their entire empire. Let them come, Laura said firmly. The Nightbreaker is just the first. We have 5 more universe breakers under construction. By the time they return, we'll have an entire fleet. Admiral Carter walked to the window, watching as maintenance crews swarmed around the powered-down ship. We've opened a door we can never close. The ability to manipulate reality itself. It's going to change us as a species. It already has, Angela replied. The real question is, are we ready for what comes next? As if in answer, a junior officer burst into the control room. Admiral, we're detecting multiple Ziraxian ships entering the solar system. At least 20 vessels, all larger than the one we encountered before. John straightened his uniform. Looks like we get to test the Nightbreaker in combat sooner than expected. Admiral Carter turned to face them, his expression grim but determined. Dr. White, is the ship ready for full combat operations? Angela checked her readings one final time. The systems are stable, and we understand the basics of its capabilities. We'll have to learn the rest in real time. Commander Peters, the Admiral said, get your crew aboard. Launch as soon as you're ready. He looked at Laura. Chief Engineer Mills, you're going with them. Nobody knows these systems better than you. As they rushed to prepare for launch, Angela caught John's arm. Remember, this ship doesn't just break the laws of physics. It breaks the laws of reality itself. Be careful out there. John nodded, a slight smile on his face. Don't worry. We're about to show the Xeraxians why they should have left Earth alone. They thought the Defiant was scary. Wait until they see what a real universe breaker can do. Through the windows, they watched as the Nightbreaker's quantum core powered up again, reality shimmering around its hull like a dark mirror. Humanity's first true universe breaker was about to face its trial by fire, and the galaxy would never be the same. Admiral Kevin Stone stood on the bridge of the UES Nightbreaker, watching as 20 Xeraxian warships approached Earth. Their purple-black hulls blocked out the stars, each ship bigger than the one they'd faced 6 months ago. But this time, humanity was ready. All hands to battle stations, Commander John Peters ordered, his voice calm despite the tension. Lieutenant Mary Rodriguez monitored the sensor readings from her station, tracking every movement of the alien fleet. "They're broadcasting, sir," Mary reported, "on all frequencies." The same metallic voice they remembered from the first encounter filled the bridge. "Humans, you have forced our hand. Your dimensional technology cannot be allowed to exist. Surrender now, and your deaths will be quick." Admiral Stone smiled. "Lieutenant Rodriguez, show them our response." Mary pressed a button, and the Nightbreaker's quantum core surged to full power. Reality rippled around the ship like waves in a pond. The Xeraxian sensors must have detected the power spike, because their ships immediately moved into attack formation. "Chief Engineer Mills," Stone called out, "are the dimensional drives ready?" Laura's voice came through clear and confident from engineering. "Ready, Admiral. All systems showing green. Reality anchors are stable." "Then let's show them what a real universe breaker can do." Stone nodded to Commander Peters. "You have tactical control, Commander. Make it count." John's fingers danced across his command console, initiating attack pattern Delta, beginning dimensional fold. The Nightbreaker's massive hull seemed to stretch and twist, and suddenly they were behind the Xeraxian fleet. Before the aliens could react, 3 controlled reality breaches opened in space. Through these tiers in the universe, they could see swirling chaos and impossible colors. "Target locked," Mary announced. "Quantum torpedoes ready." "Fire." The torpedoes launched, but instead of flying straight at the enemy ships, they disappeared into the reality breaches. A split second later, they emerged from different breaches, hitting 3 Xeraxian ships from impossible angles. The alien vessels didn't just explode. Parts of them simply ceased to exist, erased from reality itself. By the eternal void. The Xeraxian commander's voice had lost its mechanical calm. "All ships, evasive action." Their weapons, their folding space itself. But evasive action meant nothing when your enemy could control the fabric of space-time. The Nightbreaker opened more breaches, creating a complex web of dimensional tiers around the alien fleet. Some ships tried to retreat, only to find themselves emerging from a different breach, flying straight into the Nightbreaker's waiting guns. "Sir," Mary called out, her voice urgent, "I'm detecting unusual energy readings. Not from the Xeraxians, from deep space. Something's watching us." Laura's voice crackled over the comm. "Confirmed. The quantum wake of our weapons is attracting attention. Multiple dimensional disturbances detected at the edge of the solar system." Stone shared a look with Peters. They had expected this might happen. Using weapons that bent reality itself was bound to draw notice from others who understood such power. "Focus on the threat at hand," Stone ordered. "We'll deal with our audience later." The battle continued, but it wasn't really a battle anymore. It was a demonstration. The Nightbreaker danced through space, opening reality breaches at will. Some they used as weapons, others as shields, redirecting Xeraxian fire into different dimensions. When the aliens tried to surround them, the ship simply folded space and appeared elsewhere. "Admiral," Mary's voice was filled with awe. 5 enemy ships have been completely erased from space-time. 7 more are critically damaged. The rest are retreating. Stone opened a channel to the remaining Xeraxian vessels. "Let me be clear. This was one ship. One prototype. We have 5 more universe breakers nearing completion. Leave Earth space and never return. Next time, we won't be so merciful. The retreat turned into a rout. The surviving Zeraxian ships fled so fast their engines left trails of plasma in space. But Mary's sensors showed they weren't alone. Multiple contacts appearing, she reported. Different designs, unknown configurations. They're watching us. Through the main viewport, they could see strange ships appearing at the edge of sensor range. Some were elegant crystalline structures. Others looked like they were made of pure energy. All of them were observing the aftermath of the battle. It seems we've attracted the attention of the galaxy's older residents, Stone mused. They're probably wondering how a primitive species like us developed technology that can break the universe itself. Laura's voice was thoughtful over the comm. Sir, these energy readings, some of them match frequencies we've detected in our own quantum core. I don't think we're the first species to develop this technology. No, Stone agreed, but we might be the first to use it so openly. He turned to Commander Peters. Take us back to Earth. We need to report this development. Humanity just announced its presence to the galaxy in a way no one can ignore. As the Nightbreaker turned toward home, Mary's sensors continued tracking the observer ships. Some were already disappearing, presumably to report what they'd seen to their own governments. Others maintained their distance, studying the residual energy from the reality breaches. Do you think we did the right thing? Peters asked quietly. Revealing our full capabilities like this. Stone watched as Earth came into view, beautiful and blue against the black of space. We didn't have a choice. The Zeraxians forced our hand. But now, he gestured to the distant observer ships. Now we've shown everyone that humanity isn't just another primitive species to be conquered or ignored. We've shown them that we can break the universe itself if we need to. And that's going to change everything. Laura added over the comm. The energy readings I'm getting. There's something bigger going on here. The way our technology interacts with space-time. It's almost like... Like what, Chief? Like it was meant to. Like humanity was meant to develop this technology. And I think our new audience knows why. As if to emphasize her words, one of the crystalline ships moved closer, its structure catching the light from Earth's sun. It made no aggressive moves, simply observed, studying, waiting. Humanity had stepped onto the galactic stage in the most dramatic way possible. They had revealed themselves as a species capable of manipulating reality itself. And now, for better or worse, the galaxy's older civilizations had taken notice. The age of humanity's isolation was over. The age of the universe breakers had begun. The massive chamber of the Galactic Council stretched higher than any human building ever constructed. Ambassador Daniel Hayes stood at the center of the round room, surrounded by representatives from over 1,000 alien species. Some floated in anti-gravity fields, others existed as pure energy, and many took forms that human minds could barely understand. Fleet Commander Patricia Morris stood beside him, her dress uniform perfectly pressed. The Nightbreaker waited in orbit above, a reminder of humanity's power. Engineer William Crawford monitored the ship's sensors from a portable console, studying the strange energy readings that filled this ancient space station. Humanity stands accused, boomed the voice of the council leader, a beam of pure crystal and light, of reckless use of universe-altering technology. How do you respond? Daniel stepped forward, his voice clear and strong. We respond that we use this technology in defense of our home. The Zeraxian Empire attacked us without provocation. Angry murmurs filled the chamber. A cloud of purple gas formed into a vaguely humanoid shape. The technology you wield could tear reality itself apart. No young species should possess such power. Yet we do possess it. Patricia spoke up. We developed it independently, through our own research and innovation. William's console suddenly beeped. He studied the readings with growing interest as the debate continued. A beam of pure energy floated closer. Impossible. The mathematical understanding required for dimensional manipulation takes tens of thousands of years to develop. Humanity has barely left its solar system. Perhaps, Daniel suggested, that says more about your assumptions than our capabilities. The crystal being raised what might have been an arm. The Council has watched humanity for centuries. Your development has been concerning. You advance too quickly, adapt too easily, understand too much. William looked up from his console. Ambassador, Commander, you need to see this. He projected a hologram into the center of the chamber. I've been scanning the station. These energy signatures, they're exactly like our universe breakers. The council chamber went silent. The crystal being's light dimmed slightly. Explain, Patricia demanded, looking at the alien representatives. A new voice spoke, this one ancient and tired. A being made of twisting shadows moved forward. We should have known this day would come. The humans have discovered their heritage. Daniel's eyes narrowed. What heritage? The shadow being waved a tendril, and the chamber's walls became transparent, showing the stars beyond. But these weren't normal stars. Reality itself bent around them, creating patterns that matched the energy signatures from the universe breakers perfectly. This station, the shadow being explained, was built by those we call the Shapers. They could mold reality itself. They vanished eons ago, but not before seeding various galaxies with their potential successors. William's fingers flew across his console. These readings, they're in our DNA. Subtle changes, mutations that looked natural. But he looked up. We were engineered to understand and use this technology. The crystal being's light pulsed. The Shapers chose various species, modified them, hoped that one day their descendants would rise to continue their work. Most failed. Some went extinct. Others destroyed themselves. But humanity. We succeeded, Patricia finished. We not only developed the technology but controlled it. And used it responsibly, Daniel added. We didn't conquer. We defended. The purple gas being swirled agitatedly. This changes nothing. They are still too young, too reckless. Too human, another voice added, and a new figure stepped into the chamber. Everyone turned. Even the council members seemed surprised. The being looked almost human, but somehow more. Its form shifted slightly, as if it couldn't quite decide what shape to take. I am the observer, it said. I watched your battle with the Xeraxians. I saw how you used the universe-breaking weapons. And most importantly, I saw how you chose not to use them to their full potential. The observer turned to the council. They could have destroyed the entire Xeraxian fleet, could have erased their homeworld from existence, but they showed mercy. They defended, then offered peace. William's console beeped again. Ambassador, these readings. The observer, it's a Shaper, the crystal being finished. The last of them. The observer nodded. I have waited eons for one of our seeded species to reach this point, to develop not just the capability, but the wisdom to use it. Daniel stepped forward. What point? What were we developed to do? The chamber's walls shifted again, showing something that made William's instruments go crazy. Massive tears in reality, spreading across entire galaxies. The universe is breaking, the observer said simply. Not because of your weapons, but because of something far older and far worse. We created the universe breakers not to destroy, but to repair. Patricia's military mind quickly grasped the implications. You needed a species that could understand and control reality-bending technology. But you also needed one that would choose to protect rather than conquer. And so you chose humanity, Daniel finished. Modify our ancestors so that we would one day develop this capability. The observer nodded. But we couldn't program your choices, your morality. Those had to develop naturally. And they have. The council chamber erupted in discussion. Some members argued for immediately restricting humanity's access to the technology. Others wanted to study it. A few even suggested humanity should lead the defense against this greater threat. William's console showed more data about the spreading reality tiers. These aren't random. They're getting bigger, more frequent. Something's causing them. The observer turned its ever-shifting gaze to him. Yes, and now humanity must decide. Will you take up the mantle we created you for? Will you become the guardians we hoped you would be? Daniel looked at Patricia, then at William. In their eyes, he saw the same thing he felt. Purpose. Understanding. The weight of destiny. We'll need to consult with Earth, Daniel said diplomatically. This isn't a decision one ambassador can make. The crystal being's light brightened. The council will recess while humanity considers its role. But know this, if you accept, you will not face these challenges alone. The galaxy will stand with you. As the council members began to disperse, the observer approached them privately. There is one thing I haven't told the council, it said quietly. The tears in reality, they're not natural. Something is causing them. Something that remembers the Shapers. Something that wants revenge. William looked at his readings again. These patterns, they're deliberate. An attack. The observer's form flickered. Why do you think we made the universe breakers so powerful? You'll need every bit of that power for what's coming. Daniel, Patricia, and William shared a look. They had come to the council expecting to defend humanity's right to exist. Instead, they had discovered humanity's true purpose. The universe was breaking, and they had been created to fix it. As they walked back to their ship, William studied the station's energy readings one last time. You know what this means, don't you? Every universe breaker we've built, they're not just warships. Patricia nodded. They're tools, built into our DNA, written into our destiny. And now, Daniel added, looking out at the star-filled space, we have to decide if we're ready to use them for what they were truly meant for. The Nightbreaker waited above, its hull shimmering with reality-bending energy. Soon, it would carry them back to Earth, where humanity would have to make the biggest decision in its history. The age of the universe breakers was just beginning. Captain Sharon Martinez stood on the bridge of the UES Intrepid, the newest universe breaker-class ship, watching as another reality tear ripped open space before them. This one was bigger than the last, stretching across thousands of kilometers. Science Officer Frank Turner, she called out, "What are we looking at?" Frank studied his readings intently. Similar to the others, Captain. But this tear, it's different, more controlled. Like something is learning how to make them. The Intrepid had spent the last month investigating these mysterious tears in reality. After Earth learned about humanity's true purpose from the Galactic Council, they had launched a full investigation into the growing crisis. Captain. Frank suddenly straightened in his chair. I'm detecting energy signatures coming through the tear. They're massive. Before Sharon could respond, enormous shapes emerged from the reality tear. They were ships, but unlike anything humanity had ever seen. Their hulls seemed to be made of living darkness, absorbing both light and matter around them. Battle stations, Sharon ordered. Get me Earth Command now. The crew rushed to their positions as the strange ships approached. There were 5 of them, each larger than a universe breaker. A transmission cut through all their communications channels. The voice that spoke was ancient and filled with hatred. Children of the Shapers, it rasped, your time has come. Sharon kept her voice steady. This is Captain Sharon Martins of the UES Intrepid. Identify yourself. We are the Void Hunters, the voice replied. The ones your creators feared. The ones they built you to fight. Frank's console erupted with new readings. Captain, they're ships. They're not just bending reality. They're destroying it. Everything they touch just stops existing. Sharon opened a secure channel to Earth. Command, this is the Intrepid. We have contact with hostile forces, requesting immediate backup. The Shapers thought they could play gods. The ancient voice continued. They seeded the galaxies with their chosen ones, hoping to create guardians. But they forgot about us. The ones they cast out. The ones they feared. Through the view screen, Sharon watched as one of the dark ships touched an asteroid. The massive rock didn't explode or break apart. It simply vanished, taking a sphere of space-time with it. "Frank," Sharon said quietly, "what just happened to that section of space?" "It's gone. Not destroyed. Erased. Like it never existed." Frank's voice shook slightly. "They're not just breaking the universe. They're unmaking it." 3 universe breakers emerged from fold space near the Intrepid: the Nightbreaker, the Stormbreaker, and the Dawnbreaker. Earth wasn't taking any chances. "You're too late," the Void Hunter voice said. "We've spent eons learning how to unmake creation. Your universe breakers cannot stop us." Sharon shared a look with Frank. "Maybe not, but we can try." The battle that followed would be remembered for centuries. The universe breakers unleashed their full power, creating controlled tiers in reality to attack the Void Hunters. But the ancient ships seemed to absorb every attack, growing stronger. "This isn't working," Frank called out as another reality breach dissipated harmlessly against the enemy ships. "They're using our own technology against us." Sharon studied the enemy vessels, watching how they moved. Something about their pattern. Frank scanned their ship designs. "Compare them to the Shaper technology we found in our DNA." Frank worked quickly, his eyes widening as the results came in. "Captain, these ships, they're using corrupted Shaper tech. It's like a dark mirror of our own technology." Sharon immediately opened a channel to the other universe breakers. "All ships, adjust your quantum frequencies. They're using corrupted Shaper tech. We need to go back to basics." The universe breakers synchronized their quantum cores, creating a complex web of reality breaches around the Void Hunters. But instead of attacking, they began to stabilize local space-time. "What are you doing?" the ancient voice demanded as their reality-destroying weapons began to falter. "What we were made for," Sharon replied. "We're not just breakers. We're fixers." The universe breakers moved in perfect harmony, their quantum fields resonating at frequencies encoded in human DNA eons ago. Where the Void Hunters tried to unmake reality, the human ships reinforced it. "Captain," Frank called out excitedly, "it's working. Their corruption can't spread when we stabilize space-time around them." The Void Hunters tried to retreat, but the universe breakers had them surrounded in a web of stabilized space-time. Their reality-destroying weapons couldn't penetrate the quantum fields. "You cannot stop what's coming," the ancient voice snarled. "We are just the first. The Void remembers what the Shapers did, and it wants revenge." The dark ships suddenly activated some kind of emergency system. Reality twisted around them in impossible ways, and they vanished, not through controlled tiers, but by literally removing themselves from existence. As the space around them calmed, Sharon looked at the readings from the battle. "Frank, analyze everything. I want to know exactly what we're dealing with." "Already on it, Captain." Frank worked at his console. "These Void Hunters, they're using the same basic principles as our universe breakers, but corrupted. Instead of controlling reality, they're trying to destroy it." Sharon opened a channel to Earth Command. "Command, be advised. We've confirmed the nature of our enemy. The tiers in reality aren't natural. They're attacks. The Void Hunters are trying to unmake the universe itself." The response came quickly. "Return to Earth immediately. The President is calling an emergency meeting with the Galactic Council. We need to prepare." As the Intrepid and its sister ships headed home, Sharon watched the stars through her view screen. Somewhere out there, the Void Hunters were regrouping. And they weren't alone. "The Shapers chose humanity for a reason," she said quietly. "They gave us the power to break the universe because they knew we'd choose to fix it instead." Frank nodded. "But the Void Hunters can break it too. And they don't want to fix anything." "Then we'll stop them," Sharon said firmly. "Because that's what humanity does. We don't just break things. We find ways to make them better." The universe breakers continued their journey home, their quantum cores humming with power. They had won their first battle against the ancient enemy, but the war was just beginning. And somewhere in the darkness between galaxies, more Void Hunters were waking up. Admiral Julia Reynolds looked at the massive holographic display, showing hundreds of reality tiers spreading across the galaxy. In the month since their first encounter with the Void Hunters, things had gotten much worse. Commander Paul Bennett stood beside her on the bridge of the UES Lightbreaker, Earth's newest and most powerful universe breaker. "Status report," Julia ordered, her eyes fixed on the growing tiers. 27 Void Hunter ships detected, Paul responded. "They're targeting major population centers across 3 galaxies. The Galactic Council fleet is trying to evacuate civilians, but..." He paused, checking the latest reports. "We're losing whole star systems every hour." The combined fleet of universe breakers hung in formation around them. All 12 ships humanity had managed to build, plus vessels from over 50 alien civilizations. Even the Zeraxians had joined them, their purple-black ships now allies against a greater threat. "Admiral," a communication officer called out, "incoming transmission from the Council fleet." The crystalline form of the Council leader appeared on their main screen. "Admiral Reynolds, the evacuation cannot keep pace with the destruction. The Void Hunters are growing stronger with each system they unmake." Julia nodded grimly. "They're not just destroying reality. They're absorbing its energy, using it to power their corruption." "Admiral," Paul's voice was urgent, "massive reality tear forming. It's bigger than anything we've seen." The tier that opened in space was enormous, large enough to swallow entire solar systems. Through it came something that made everyone's blood run cold, a Void Hunter vessel larger than a small moon, its hull seeming to eat the light around it. "Children of the Shapers," the familiar ancient voice boomed across all channels. "Behold your doom. The Void Monarch has awakened." The massive ship began to pulse with dark energy. Everywhere its influence reached, reality simply ceased to exist. Whole sections of space vanished, taking stars, planets, and ships with them. "All ships," Julia commanded, "initiate Protocol Omega. Execute the Shaper defense." The universe breakers moved into formation, their quantum cores synchronizing. They had trained for this, practicing the maneuver the observer had taught them. Around them, the Allied fleet provided cover, engaging the smaller Void Hunter ships. "Commander Bennett," Julia turned to Paul, "you know what we have to do." Paul nodded solemnly. "The observer warned us it might come to this. One final reality breach, large enough to seal all the tiers. But powered by a universe breaker's core going critical," Julia finished. "A controlled quantum detonation." Paul's expression was determined. "I volunteer for the Lightbreaker." "Paul, the Lightbreaker has the strongest quantum core," he said firmly, "and someone has to pilot it manually to ensure perfect positioning." He managed a small smile. "Besides, what better way for a universe breaker to go out than saving the universe itself?" Before Julia could respond, the Void Monarch attacked. Its reality-destroying beam swept through space, erasing 3 Allied ships instantly. The universe breaker's quantum fields barely held against the assault. "All ships, begin the sequence," Julia ordered. "Focus your quantum fields on the Lightbreaker. Give Commander Bennett everything you've got." The universe breakers formed a circle around the Lightbreaker, their quantum cores pulsing in harmony. Energy flowed between the ships, building to levels never before attempted. "The void cannot be stopped," the ancient voice mocked. "We will unmake everything the Shapers created." "You're wrong." Paul's voice was calm as the Lightbreaker's systems reached critical levels. "The Shapers didn't just create us to break the universe. They created us to save it." The Lightbreaker's hull began to glow with impossible energies as the other universe breakers fed power into its quantum core. Paul guided the ship straight toward the massive reality tear the Void Monarch had emerged from. "Reality anchor systems failing," Paul reported. "Quantum core at 300% capacity and climbing. Tell Earth. Tell them we did our job." Julia's voice was thick with emotion. "Godspeed, Commander Bennett." The Lightbreaker shot forward, its quantum field leaving trails of distorted spacetime behind it. The Void Monarch tried to stop it, but the other universe breakers created a wall of stabilized spacetime, protecting Paul's approach. "Now," Paul shouted. The Lightbreaker's quantum core detonated, but this wasn't a normal explosion. This was reality itself being rewritten. A massive quantum wave expanded outward, touching each reality tear it encountered. Where the wave passed, space-time stabilized, the tiers sealing themselves. The Void Monarch tried to flee, but it was too late. The quantum wave reached its massive form, and for a moment, the ancient ship's true nature was revealed. A twisted monument to chaos, a thing that should never have existed. Then it was gone, along with all the other Void Hunters. The quantum wave continued expanding, healing reality as it spread across the galaxies. In the aftermath, Julia stood with the council leader, watching the final readings from the quantum wave. Commander Bennett's sacrifice sealed every reality tear in 3 galaxies, the crystalline being said softly. "The Void Hunters are gone. Their corruption has been cleansed." Julia nodded, her eyes on the space where the Lightbreaker had made its final stand. "The Shapers chose well when they modified humanity. We didn't just learn to break the universe, we learned to heal it." The Observer appeared beside them, its form more stable now that reality had been fixed. "Humanity has proven itself beyond our highest hopes. The universe breakers will be needed again. The void never truly dies. But now, all species know they have guardians they can rely on." As the Allied fleet began the journey home, Julia looked at the stars, bright and stable once more. Humanity had built the universe breakers as weapons, only to discover they were tools of creation. They had learned to break reality itself, only to become its protectors. The ships around her hummed with quantum energy, their reality-bending powers now a symbol not of destruction, but of protection. They were the universe breakers, and they would guard reality itself for all time to come. In the darkness between galaxies, the quantum wave continued its journey, healing the scars in spacetime. And in its wake, the stars shone brighter than ever before, secure in the knowledge that humanity stood ready to defend them. The universe was safe. For now.